There we go. Hey y'all, I'm here to give you an update on how I've been, what I've been going through, everything that's happening. Me personally, I have been diagnosed a couple months ago with something called POTS. POTS basically means you stand up, your blood pressure drops, your heart rate increases, and then you pass out. Because of this, POTS is very, very problematic, and it's problematic for me because I pass out somewhere between 4 to 6 times a day on my worst days, and on my good days maybe only once, or maybe only I'll get dizzy. But at the same time, when you take a look at blood pressures, a normal person is 130 over 80 or 120 over 80. I am 90 over 60. Or something like 98 over 64, which is dangerous. It puts me at a really kind of stupid state. My resting heart rate is like 120, 130, 140, which is stupid because a normal person's resting heart rate would be 40 to, let's say 40 to 80 is about normal for resting heart rate. Or so my doctors have told me. For a healthy person, the lower end is you're still really healthy. If you're 40 to 60, that is still healthy. Do not worry, don't stress. The only time you should stress is if you're resting, you're asleep, and your heart rate is 140 or 120 or over 100. You should probably go to the doctors. But they finally figured out that I had POTS because they did a tilt table test where they strap you to a table. They put a IV in you, so that way they can feed you fluids afterwards, because usually when they give a tilt table test, they know the person's going to pass out. I had a friend in the room with me while I did mine. Honestly, it literally was one of the worst tests I ever done because I felt like crap, and you have to ride it through a little bit. So when they did the test, you're supposed to stand, they'll strap you to the table, and then they'll raise it like you're standing up, and usually the person will drop and pass out. I was lucky enough that day, I was having a good day, I didn't pass out, but my heart rate spiked way high, and my blood pressure also spiked way high, which was before the drop. And when I started feeling all my limbs go numb, that was when I knew that I had to tell her to lay me back down and end the test, because I couldn't complete the test and I couldn't even begin to stand there for any longer than 10 minutes. Walking's hard. If I walk too far, I feel like I'm going to pass out. If I work out, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Again, my heart rate plays a huge factor in that. My blood pressure does as well. So POTS allows me to basically not do anything I want to do. For example, I went to a theme park, I don't even remember the month anymore. I went to a theme park, and it's when I went to Florida. I went to Disney World, could not walk that far. Had to be a 23-year-old sat in a wheelchair, wheeling around Disney. Well, I don't care what people think of me. I don't really have a pride trip. But it is, you do see the eyes, because I look somewhat healthy on my good days. Like, unlike today, because I'm getting over a gastrointestinal virus, I've been sick for like the last 4 or 5 days. So, usually I look healthy. Now, me looking somewhat healthy, sitting in a wheelchair, being wheeled around a theme park, people kind of give you dirty looks, and they stare at you. And it's a crappy feeling. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It is a shit feeling. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, my friend didn't want me to pass out. His family, who are in the nursing field, knew. And they rented me a wheelchair, and they didn't want me to pass out. And honestly, I love them to death for it, because they just get it. So, like I said, POTS is pretty much a hidden symptom or syndrome or disease, because when you look at a person, you can't tell. If they pass out, you'll know that something's wrong, but you won't know that they have a heart condition unless they have a medical bracelet. I don't have a medical bracelet yet. I should get one. I know I have like billions of conditions by now, but they're putting me on medication to decrease my heart rate. That way, my resting heart rate could try to maybe go down to normal, but we got to be careful because we want to raise my blood pressure up as well. So they're going to try me on one that doesn't affect the blood pressure, so I can take my blood pressure medication and my heart medication, but he doesn't want me to take it for a couple days because I'm still getting over the gastrointestinal. So basically, like I said, it is a bit rough. It will be a bit rough. There's nothing I can particularly do about it, or anybody else for that matter. It just is. So where we stand right now are they're gonna try to get me into Hopkins, hopefully, and that way I'll have most of my problems in one research hospital, which is good. I'd have my what's it called? My lupus doctor, autoimmune disease doctor at Hopkins, who is amazing. She basically sat me down and diagnosed me in like 10 minutes. She was like, I know exactly what you have. I'll have my pseudotumor head pressure doctors at Hopkins as well, now that I'm in their system. And hopefully I'll have my heart. They want me to see an electrophysiologist there and their pass-out team, which would basically be for my P.O.T.S syndrome. Again, I am really young. I'm 24. I know I don't look it, but I am. I'm 23. I turned 24 November 8th. So, with that being said, I will catch y'all later.